Hope you all can hear me. Can you guys confirm once?
Yes, sir, audible.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks for confirming. That's a very good response from you guys. So let us start this session. Okay, so if you guys remember, yesterday we had our very first demo where I have told you about the basic things about what is Google Cloud Platform, what is data engineering, and we have also seen the detailed course curriculum. What you are going to get out of the course also I have told you, and all the details related to the course content and course details also I have told you. Those who have missed the yesterday's session, please connect with an admin, get the video recording and try to watch it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about our very first session today. That is it is a regular sessions only, guys. From today onwards we are going to start with the actual topics only. Okay, so welcome to the demo session 2, where we are going to start with the cloud basics. The very first topic that I'm going to start with is cloud overview, where we are going to learn about why we need the cloud platform. Okay, so why we need the cloud platform, and we are going to see what is the difference between the on-premises versus cloud platform. Okay, so this is what I'm going to talk about it. So let us go there. So this is our very good topic for today. So please try to understand what I'm going to tell you. It may not be very much important for you, but a very minimum basic thing everyone must and should understand. Okay, so why we need the cloud platform? I just wanted to take you to how people were working in the traditional methodology. So when you do not have a cloud platform, maybe 10-15 years before, at that point of time, we do not have the cloud platforms available. So how people were working in the traditional work methodology? So let us try to understand with a simple example. Okay, so the example is that let us consider if an organization wanted to roll out a new application. Take one sorry, maybe take one company. For example, some company is there. That company wanted to create a new application for their users. New application for the plenty of the users outside. So if a company wanted to create a new application for the users, what will happen in that particular company? What are the process that they are going to follow? How many people they are going to be there in that particular project to create or application creation? How many teams are going to work behind the scene? All of those things let us try to understand. Okay, for doing that, whenever a company wanted to create a new application, the business comes up with a requirement for the application. There will be a business, so a business comes up with a requirement for the application, and then a business analyst will gather the needs from the business and analyzes it and converts that into a set of high level technical requirement and passes that information to the solution architect. Okay, whenever a business comes up with a requirement for the application, the business analyst will gather the needs from the business and he analyzes that information and he converts that information to the technical requirements and he passes that technical requirements to the solution architect. Now, the solution architect is the main person who designs the architecture to be followed for the deployment of this application. What he is going to do, sir? He is going to design an entire architectural diagram for everyone to follow for the deployment of this new application from the scratch to the end. He is going to create an architecture diagram from the scratch to the end, whatever that is required. How many teams are required here? How much amount of infrastructure is required here? Before me talking about it, can you tell me in a generic ideology, if one wanted to create an application, what are the things that is required? If one wanted to create a one application, can anyone tell me what are the things that is very much important for the company if one wanted to create an application? Correct, correct. So if one wanted to create one application, we need to have the manpower. So manpower is like we. right? So the humans, the developers, like there can be a developer, there can be a data engineer, or there can be anything. So if one application needs to be created, a manpower who creates this application, whether they are creating with help of the code or whatever it is, the developers I'm talking about. The next thing is that the infra power, that means the infrastructure, such as the number of servers, the front-end mechanism, or back-end databases, or the load balancers, or whatever it is, you name it. So all of those things are very much important for us to whatever the code. This manpower is going to create the code, and on top of the infrastructure, which the infrastructure is ready, they are going to deploy this infrastructure. Okay, so these two things are very, very important whenever we wanted to create an application. Okay, so someone has to manage it. So that's where the company, that is management. So I don't wanted to worry about it. I just wanted to focus on these two things. Okay, whenever we wanted to create an application, we need to worry about the manpower. We need to worry about the infrastructure power. So now come back here again. So when the business comes up with a requirement for the application, the business analyst will gather the information and converts that into a set of high-level technical requirements. He passes that technical information to the solution architect. Now the solution architect is going to be creating the architecture diagram to be followed for the application deployment. Now he will design it in two ways. One is a developers, he will inform that they have to use this programming set of languages and they have to create the code. So that's where an application team will be working on it. Okay, an application team will be there. They will be working on this thing, code and the code development. And the second thing, that is infrastructure. Now the infrastructure has to be taken care by whom, guys? Can you guys tell me, when you are working in a traditional working methodology, who has to take care of this infrastructure? Who has to take care of this infrastructure? Who has to create this infrastructure? Who has to?
Organization.
Yes. Who has to maintain this infrastructure? Organization. Who has to worry about the infrastructure? Again, organization. So whenever someone wanted to create one application, the infrastructure is very much important. So the solution architect will design, or he will create an architecture diagram where how much amount of infrastructure is required. That means the how many number of servers are required, how many number of front-end databases or back-end databases are required, load balancers are required, and the storage and backup and everything, whatever the infrastructure that is required, he is going to be creating in the mentioning in the architecture diagram. Now, if that entire architecture, according to the entire architectural diagram, if the infrastructure is readily available in the data center, because at that point of time, every company has managing their own data centers. Every company has to manage their own data centers because they do not have the cloud platforms. Every company has managing their own data centers. A data center is nothing but where you will be having the physical resources as well as virtual resources also. Okay, so if the entire infrastructure is that is mentioned in the architecture diagram, if it is not available in the data center, what we have to do, sir? If the infrastructure that is required for application deployment is not available in the data center, only some amount is available, but most of the infrastructure is not available in the data center, what is going to happen? Can anyone guess it? Okay, so that's where the solution architect will create a request to the procurement team. Okay, so that's where a solution architect will create a request to the procurement team saying that we are creating an application, but the infrastructure is not there in the data center. Can you put in a request to the vendors team? Can you put in a request to the vendors team? Now the vendors team is going to be purchasing the hardware. Okay, they are going to purchasing the hardware or entire infrastructure, and they are going to deliver it to the data center. They have to deliver it to the data center. So this is how it happens, guys. Okay, now hope you guys are understanding it. When you are following a traditional methodology, so the entire things has to be deployed in the organization data center only. Okay, whenever if the additional hardware is needed, whenever the additional infrastructure is needed, they have to order it via procurement team only, and this procurement team will put in a new request to the vendors team. Now this vendors team will take days or weeks or sometime even months also for the hardware to be purchased and deliver it to the data center. Okay, this vendors team will take a lot of time because the hardware may not be available in the nearby, so they have to purchase it. So for purchasing and delivering it to the data center, it may take days or weeks or even months also for the entire infrastructure to be purchased and deliver it to the data center. Okay, once the entire infrastructure is received at the data center, so that's where the infrastructure team come into the picture. That's where the infrastructure team come into the picture, because whatever the hardware that they have purchased, whatever the hardware that they have purchased and deliver it to the data center cannot be directly usable. Okay, cannot be directly usable. So that is the reason there will be a field engineers where they are the in charge of the rack and stack equipment, and what they will do, they create a rack and stack with the hardware. So if you wanted to see something like this, so they are going to create the hardware into this particular thing. So whatever the hardware that is received at the data center, they are going to convert that hardware, entire hardware, into this rack and stack mechanism, whatever you are seeing, right? So this is how this entire rack and stack they are going to create it. So that is how once the hardware is received at the data center, the field engineers will take care of the rack and stack equipment mechanism, and then the system admins comes into the picture, and they are going to take care of the initial configuration of the system. For every system there has to be initial configuration should be there, so the initial configuration will be taken care by the system admins. And then the network admin, again here also the network admins will make sure that all of these machines are available over the network. They will do the network configurations, making sure that whatever the systems available, they are going to be available over the network. And then storage admins comes into the picture, they will assign the storage. Backup admins will come into the picture, and they will configure the backup for all of these systems. And that's where if the entire infrastructure, or once the entire system is ready as per the standards that is mentioned in the architecture diagram, it will be handed over to the application team. Now the application team will deploy the applications on top of this infrastructure which is created by these many people. Okay, so this is what we call as a traditional methodology of deploying the applications from the scratch to the end. And this many people involving, this many teams are involving for creating one application. Okay, this many people. And if you assume that your business is doing well, okay, because of your application is went well, and the receivers, the users are using your application like anything, and because of that you have to increase the resources. That means you have to scale up your system, scale up the resources. So if you wanted to scale up again, you have to follow the same thing, the same procedure. So for scaling up the resources, again not available, again request to the procurement team, the vendors team, again they have to purchase it and deliver it to the data center, again the same process one by one. Scaling up also takes a lot of time here. So this is what we call. So let me gonna tell you the high level one more time from the start. If an organization wanted to roll out a new application, the business comes up with a requirement for the application. The business comes up with a requirement for the application, and the business analyst will gather the information and analyzes it and converts that into a set of high level technical requirements, and then he passes that information to the solution architect. Now the solution architect will create an architecture diagram to be followed for the deployment of this application, which typically include the entire infrastructure details such as the specification type, the count of servers, the front-end web servers, back-end databases, the load balancers, or everything. When you follow a traditional methodology, this would have to be deployed on top of a organization's data center only. Okay, so That means you have to deploy your code on top of the organization's data center assets only. But if the additional hardware is needed, you have to request it via procurement team. You have to order it via procurement team, and this team will put in a request to the vendors team. Now the vendors team will take days, months, and weeks also sometimes for the purchasing of entire hardware and deliver it to the data center. Once it is received at the data center, and the field engineers will take care of the rack and stack. System admins will take care of the system configurations. Network admin will take care of the network configurations. Storage admins will assign the storage. Backup admin will assign the will configure the backups. And that's where it will be handed over to the application team for the application deployment. It will be handed over to the application team for the application deployment. So this is how in a traditional methodology, so this one is happening. Can you guys guess it? What is the problem or what are the challenges with this particular method? Can you guys tell me what are the challenges with this particular method? One by one.
Delay, delay from procurement team,
Correct. So I see, yeah. So someone is
and then
saying that it takes a
and
lot
then
of time. Yes.
yeah, lots of manpower involved in under infrastructure
Correct.
team.
Correct. There's a lot of dependency and many people are involved. That is also
Yeah,
correct. Yes. Answer it, guys. I'm hearing. I want you
and
guys
then
to.
scalability,
Yes. Very good
is
point. Very good point. Scalability, right? Scaling up and down as per the requirement is not that much feasible. It's not
easy.
straightforward. Yes, not easy. Correct.
Yeah.
Any other people? Any other thoughts on this one? Any other challenges that you see here? Of course, wasted resources. Very, very good point. So you are creating a resources, but you may not be utilizing it 100%. That means wasted resources. That's very good point again. Yes. Okay. So let us see it one by one. Here I have mentioned one by one. Let us see. If you look at here, some people already told me, sir, it is going to take a lot of time. That's what can I call it as a slow deployment model? Because the turnover time varies from the weeks to the months for everything to be ready for the application deployment. Do you guys agree if I say slow deployment? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Perfect. Sir, as I already told you, many people involved, and you see that we have to maintain the data center also. We have to feed the field engineers, system admins, many people we have to feed. So can you tell me, can I call it as a costly process or expensive working model?
Yep.
Because the overall cost to deploy and maintain this working model is generally high. So can I call it as a expensive? Do you guys agree? Of course, yes. I see, yes. Sir, if you look at here, most of the aspects are manual process only. Look at here, the data center activities has to be taken care manually. Most of the aspects, the field engineers activities has to be manual only, and when it is manual it will be slow. So that means while some aspects can be automated, but most of the infrastructure related activities, rack and stack, cabling, networking, configurations, most of these activities cannot be automated. So can I call it as a limited automation? Of course. And with so many teams working behind the scene on so many different tasks, right? So many teams working on so many different tasks, the chances of the human error is very high, which leads to the inconsistency in the environment. And another major disadvantage, one of the guy was telling, the resources, the wasted resources. Whatever the resources you are purchasing, you may not be using it 100%. So again, it comes to the wasted resources, nothing but an underutilization of the compute resources. So these are the challenges that the traditional people, the traditional companies, organizations are facing throughout the last decade. In the last entire decade, entire most of the companies are facing a problems with these things: the slow deployment model, expensive, limited automation, human error, inconsistency in the environment, and wasted resources. So when you follow on-premises methodology or traditional mechanism, so these are the challenges that the people are facing due to these many disadvantages or challenges over the past decades, organizations are looking for an alternative solution. So that's where the cloud providers came into the picture. Okay, the organizations were looking for an alternative solution because they are going to face a lot of challenges with the traditional mechanism, and they're looking for an alternative solution who can manage their entire infrastructure. Okay, so that's where the cloud providers came into the picture. So what they do is that, so you don't need these many people here. Okay, you don't need this thing, you don't need to manage the data center also. Okay, so you don't have to manage your entire infrastructure. You don't need these many teams working behind the scene if one wanted to work in the cloud, because so already the entire infrastructure is readily available in the Google Cloud Platform, AWS Cloud, or Azure Cloud. The resources are already available. We just have to create them and utilize them for our project requirements. Okay, so you don't need this many people. You need the application team, one application team, one more is DevOps team. DevOps team will directly create the resources. Application team will deploy their code on top of these resources. That's it. You don't need the field engineers, you don't need the systems, storage admins, backup admins, vendors, procurement team, data center. Data center itself, it is very costly. 24 by 7 electricity, 24 by 7 cooling supply, 24 by 7 maintenance. Okay, so this is how, so that is the reason what happened is that the most of the organizations are started utilizing the cloud. It's because of that cloud making the services easy to create it, and you don't have to wait for the resources, because one application creating you are taking like 6 to 7 months here. Okay, you are taking 6 to 7 months up to a year also sometimes. But here in the cloud working model, you are not going to create it, because cloud is going to be working in a very very simple, and most of the things can be automated easily. Okay, so that's the reason a DevOps engineer just creates the resources in the cloud platforms, and application team will deploy the resources on the cloud platform, so that for creating an application it becomes this much easy. Okay, so that's how, let us see the how the cloud is going to fix our problems. As we now know that no one is involved in this in this cloud working model. So that's the reason the you don't call it as a slow deployment model. It's because that according to your requirement you can just create the resources, and you can able to just go and deploy your application. So that's how you can able to do that. And one more thing is that compared to the traditional working model, the cloud computing model is going to be less expensive. It's because that you're not managing the data center here. You're not managing this many teams behind the scene also here. You only pay for whatever the resources that you are utilizing. So that's the reason I'm calling to call it as a less expensive compared to the traditional one. And we already know that the cloud is going to be working on the web only, and the cloud, everything, every services is going to work via APIs only. So when you do via API, the automation is very high. So you can say that most of the things can be easily automated whenever you are doing something via API. So that's the reason the automation is very high. Now that now that very less teams working behind the scene, you don't have this team, you don't have this team, you don't have this many teams. So less teams working behind the scene, the chances of human error will be reduced, and which does not lead to the inconsistency in the environment. One more is scaling up and down is also easy and possible. Almost all the services in the cloud platforms are auto scalable. And one more thing is that if you don't want some resources, you can reduce it. If you wanted to increase your resources, you can increase it. It's not that you create the resources and you have to use that only. So there's no concept of wasted resources, and comparatively the wasted resources are very less here, because whatever the resources we are using, we can use it. If you don't want it, you can reduce. If you want more, you can increase it. So auto scalable is there, so you can increase it and decrease it according to your demand. So utilization of the computer resources will be very high. So I'm going to remove that wasted resources concept also here. So this is how cloud has fixed most of the challenges that the people were facing in the traditional methodology. So that's the reason most of the companies are looking towards the cloud platforms only. Okay, so in a simple word, sir, I wanted to tell you what is traditional, what is cloud. If you look at here, a traditional, an organization managing its own infrastructure to run their code and applications, then I can call that organization following a traditional working model. If an organization is there, for example, an organization is there managing their code and infrastructure, sorry, infrastructure and application, then that in sorry, managing the infrastructure for running their code and application, then that organization I call it as a traditional working model. That organization is following a traditional working model. When you go for cloud computing, one more cloud provider provides you the infrastructure as a service to you. That means this entire infrastructure is provided to you by the one cloud provider. One cloud provider is providing you the infrastructure as a service to you, and that's where you are going to run your code and applications in that infrastructure. So then you can call it as a cloud computing model. Okay, so if an organization managing its own infrastructure for running their codes, that is called as a traditional working model. If an organization is dependent on the cloud provider for providing the infrastructure so that they can run the applications or code, then that is called as a cloud computing model. Sir, every time you are calling infrastructure, can you tell me, sir, what is mean by infrastructure? An infrastructure can be a server, can be a hardware, software, networking, storage, RAM, CPU, all of these things you can call it as an infrastructure. Okay. Yep. So this is what is traditional versus cloud, everyone. Okay, so that is where I just wanted to let you know that why we need these cloud platforms and what is the difference between this on-premises and the cloud. I just wanted to tell you, and I hope you are able to understand it clearly. Can you guys tell me if anyone have any questions? Please raise your hand on this particular topic only. We will see if anyone have any questions related to the course. We will see that at the end.
Hello. Hi, this is Leelavati.
Yes, Leela.
Not a question, but I just wanted to conclude it. It's like more of um, deployment solutions, right? Maintenance and a deployment solution. It's not something we can go write code. I don't
No,
think,
no,
right?
no,
We
no.
can write,
No, 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 no,
go
no, no.
write
You
some
can.
code, our own business logic and all. It's only the solution for maintenance and deployment.
No, it's not like that. Both can be. If you wanted to write your code, okay, sir, I would like to have a. Okay, wait
Okay.
a minute. So I would like to write a code in a visual interactive method, and I wanted to manage my code, and I wanted to run my code, and I wanted to deploy my code, test my code. Whatever the phases that you wanted to do it in a project can be done in the cloud platforms. Okay, writing the code, you have a code editors. And for what is this phase? This
Cloud
phase is like,
platform.
okay, so for storing the data or managing the code, you have the services. That is like version control services. And for
Mm.
maintaining and deploying, you also have the services. So in the cloud, you have everything. Okay, it is not specific to anything. You will be having everything. It's that we just have to know what is that service and we just have to be aware of it. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
yes. Okay, yes, yes, please. Sure, sure, sure. Got your point. Yes, yes, I'll do that. Yes. I'm really sorry. I'll do that. Yes. Okay. So I see a question. No. Sir, infrastructure networking, we have to buy the servers. Yes. So infrastructure networking, we have to buy the servers is a question, guys. So it's not like that. So when you're working in the traditional working model, you have to purchase it for sure. But when you go for the cloud, you can create those resources. I'll tell you in our upcoming sessions how do we create the resources for storing the data or for processing the data, for analyzing the data, for maintaining the data, orchestration pipelines, all of those things. How do we do that? I'm going to tell you in our upcoming sessions. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And yes, Sushovan, yeah, you have any question? It's that, okay, people might have already know it. So what is the difference between the IaaS? So we don't worry about it because as a data engineer we don't need it, but I try to give you some idea. So what is the difference between this IaaS? One more is what, sir? Okay, so you will be having three what we call as a models in the cloud. Okay, whenever you are working in, for example, some cloud platform. So if you wanted to take care of your infrastructure, and you can go for the infrastructure as, I mean, if you wanted to someone to take care of the infrastructure, and you wanted to take care of other activities, then you can go for the infrastructure as a service. And if you wanted to, for example, maybe when you go for platform as a service, so the platform will be managed by the some other people, and you can go for the rest of the things. And similarly, when you go for software as a service, you will be provided with the software, and rest of the things are going to be taken care. So the where you can just focus on the I word. For example, when I say infrastructure is managed, and rest of the things you have to take care of it. When I say a platform is provided to you, so that you have to take care of the rest of the things. And software, whenever software is directly provided to you, so that you don't have to worry about the infrastructure and platform, you can directly go for the development of the application. So IaaS offers you more of a infrastructure details, and the platform as a services provides you the entire platform, so that the developers can create their own applications, and they can able to take care of their DevOps related activities, as well as application development and testing related activities. They can able to do that. And when it comes to the infrastructure, so the cloud is going to be providing you some servers, storage, and networking. That is more of a infrastructure as a service. When you go for the PaaS, so if you wanted to take care of the application, your main focus is that application deployment. So for that one, the entire platform is provided to you, so that you can make sure of your application development and testing. And software as a service, it's that for an end user, you wanted to provide an entire software to them, so that they can make use of that software. For example, we take this Zoom platform. This is a Zoom is one of the most software as a service only. So where you can look at that. So we don't need that, but just to give you an idea. So yeah. Any other questions, anyone? Okay, so
A
I see,
platform as a team, sorry, platform, second one.
guys,
Can you,
please please raise your hand whenever you guys are asking any question. Please raise your hand, so we will see it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Please raise your hand if anyone have any questions. Yes, Rajesh. It's a cloud provider. Okay, it's a cloud provider. Inside this cloud provider, you will be having IaaS software, IaaS and services, and you will be having a PIAS, and you will also be having SaaS. Okay, so that's so. It's a cloud provider. It's a public cloud provider. It provides you this many services to you. For example, when I say a VM, it is comes under VM and servers. It comes under this one. So when I say a PaaS, you will be having some kind of a cloud run and Kubernetes engine. So such kind of a things comes under the PaaS service. Software as a service such as like BigQuery, okay, and you will be having DataProc. So those kind of a services comes under the software as a service. So they will be providing a specifically software, a BigQuery, where you can able to take care of the analytics services, analytics related activities you can able to take. But I don't want you to understand these all of these things, guys, because so the moment you dig into this one, it's a very bigger topic. But this is not a topic for data engineers. You don't need to worry about it. We never worry about it. Okay, it's a data engineer. It's not a data engineer. It's more of a DevOps topic. Yeah, but to give you an idea, just I wanted to tell you that these three models are there. Yeah. Okay, so I see that no one is having any questions. So let me gonna proceed further. I just wanted to tell you one more time that what is Google Cloud Platform. Okay, so the Google Cloud Platform is one of the leading cloud provider. They provide you the cloud computing services. So what are these services? So these services are very useful if one wanted to store the data or process the data, or if one wanted to deploy one application, or you wanted to create one application, or you wanted to scale one application. Whatever the activities that you wanted to do it, they are going to provide you the cloud computing services to you, and these services are very much useful for the organizations to build the application, deploy the application, and scale the applications and services in the cloud. Okay, so what is this one, sir? It is one of the leading cloud provider. It provides you the cloud computing services. Sir, can you tell me what are the services it is providing you? If you ask me, it is going to provide you the compute services, identity and security, and management services, networking, big data, storage and databases, and machine learning services. Okay, so these many services it is going to be providing you. And this topic I'm going to start it tomorrow. I don't want it to start it. And these services are highly reliable, secure, and scalable infrastructure it is going to be providing you. And Google has a plenty of infrastructure throughout the world, and we will be having almost 5 locations are there. So Google's infrastructure is divided into 5 locations. You have a North America, South America, Asia, Australia, all of these things are there. So Google's entire infrastructure and network of data centers are also available in India. Also we have the data centers in New Delhi, and we also have the data centers in the Mumbai. And these services that they are providing are highly reliable and secure, and it is providing you scalable also. If you go to the services, for example, so let me open the Google Cloud Platform and show you. So most of the services are highly encrypted, so you don't have to take care of the encryption. So by default, the Google encryption will be there. And one more thing is that, for example, if I go to each and every service, so you will be seeing you have to, for example, if one wanted to store the data, you will be having a storage services. If one wanted to process the data, you will be having a processing services. If you wanted to analyze the data, you will be having a analytical services also. And one can able to create the APIs, one can able to take care of the access control here, one can able to set up their entire details also here. So all the things that a company wanted to do it when it comes to the project fulfillment purpose, whether it is upgrading something, or whether it is migrating something, or whether it is validations, or whether it is pipeline creations, whatever the activities that you wanted to do it, all of those things you will be having a specific services. For example, Google Cloud Storage is for storing the data, and Google Cloud BigQuery for the data warehouse and data analytics purposes, and you have a Cloud SQL for SQL databases, traditional OLTP systems, and one more is DataProc for PySpark and Spark Hadoop pipelines creations. You can able to use it. Dataflow for Apache Beam and Beam pipelines. You can able to create it with help of the Python. So plenty of these services are there. So whatever these services are, according to your requirement, your use case, you have to utilize these services and create your own resources, and you can utilize them for your project fulfillment purpose. So this is how it is. Okay, so it is going to be providing you almost 4,000 plus market products are there. One can able to make use of it. Okay, so that is what is about the Google Cloud Platform. In the next session, I'm going to tell you how you can able to interact with the GCP services. Sir, as a data engineer, I wanted to work with a different services, sir. If I wanted to work with a different services, sir, can you tell me what are the interface methods are there? If you ask me, there are actually 3 interface methods are there. One is console, one more is Cloud Shell, one more is Cloud SDK. So what is console? How you can able to interact with the GCP? Our main agenda is that you need to interact with the GCP services. Can you tell me, guys, why do we need to interact with the GCP services as a data engineer? Can you guys confirm? Sir, I am a
For the
data
platform,
engineer. Why do we need to interact with the GCP services? Okay, as a data engineer, you maybe need to store some data in a project. You may need to process some data. You may need to analyze some data. You may need to visualize some data. You may want to take care of the data governance. You may not want to take care of the monitoring. So if you wanted to do any of these data engineering activities, all of these things I call it as a data engineering activities. If you wanted to take care of all of these data engineering activities, you have to interact with the GCP services, right? So if one wanted to interact with the GCP services, the very first method is console, Cloud Shell, Cloud SDK. What is console? How you can able to interact with the GCP services using console? What is Cloud Shell? How can we interact with the Cloud Shell using the commands? what is Cloud SDK, how do we install the SDK, and how do we interact with the GCP services. All of these three methods we are going to see it in a very detail tomorrow. I'm going to stop the session here for today. Okay. Yes. If anyone have any questions, you can ask me. Please raise your hand before anyone asking any question. So that would be easy so that I can able to make a note of it. Who is asking what question? Okay. Yes. I see no hands raised. Yes, Revati.
Hi, sir. I'm sorry.
So always please raise your hand. Yes, Leela, you have any question?
Uh, I'm I'm sorry, not seeing the option to raise it. I joined from the mobile. I have one question.
Yes, Leela.
Platform. Sorry, it's got disconnected earlier. I got
Mhm.
one question. As
Yes,
you
please.
said, platform. Second point.
Okay.
Say like you said, everything is possible in the um, cloud. So say like I wanted to write some code in my editor. I'm going to,
Okay.
as a Java developer, I am going to use some of the editor STS or Eclipse and all. So are we going to have the same kind of software in the cloud itself as a providers or something, or they can come up with their own editor to write to interact with our core editor? How it will be? Can you
I'm
just give some brief on it?
it's it. You have the editor here. See, I'm writing the Terraform code. I can write Python code. Okay. So this is the editor. Is it the same editor you are looking at, right?
Looking at something I can write Java code. Anything is
You can
possible
write
here.
anything. You can write anything.
Okay.
Main dot Java. What is the extension for Java?
Dot Java.
Dot Java, right? See, it's a Java file. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you can create any file. Okay, so you can write Terraform code, you can write Java code, you can write Python also. Okay, so anything. Okay.
Okay. I'll just go through it maybe in the next sessions.
Yes,
Just
yes.
I'm wondering, will it give also the suggestions as like Eclipse and all, or it's a
You
like
have to
manual
install.
thing?
You have to install it. However, you have installed it, so you will be having extension here. You can install,
Okay.
right? So you'll
So
be
we need
having
to be add some plugin kind of things.
all the things. However, you will be installing on a
Okay.
Visual Studio editor or whatever the editor Eclipse you are using it, right? So however you will be having, everything will be here. You can able to make use of it. Okay. So it's the same thing that you are doing it. Just that you need to know. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that is clear. Okay, so you will be having the editors available. So Leela is asking that, sir, can we have the editor like similar to our Eclipse and Visual Studio Code? Yes, you will be having a code editors in the Google Cloud platform. Also, you can create your own code editor also in a machine. That is also possible. Yes. Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone? Yes, Revati. I think someone was raised the hand.
Sir, I pasted my question in the chat for you.
Yes, I'm looking at it. Okay, sir. When you say scalability, how it differs from the traditional to the cloud? So we can scale per our requirement in the traditional method as well as right. Yes, you can do that. But how much time it is scaling up for you? Okay, so you can scale up and down as per the requirement, but scaling down, what is mean in the traditional method? We can't do that, right? You purchase it something and you have delivered it to it and you have created an entire infrastructure out of it, but you can't scale down, right? You can remove the resources. That nothing but you are wasting the resources. Okay, scaling up and down should be helping you to effective, cost effective also, right? But it cannot be possible in the traditional. But when you go for the uh, cloud, you can increase the resources according to your demand today, and tomorrow you can decrease it according to your demand today. So if your business is doing good, you can scale up your resources. If your business is not doing good, you can scale down the resources according to amount of resources that you are utilizing. You will only be pay for whatever the resources that you are utilizing. Rest of the things you don't need to worry about it. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So I think that's also clear. Any other questions? Anyone, please? Yes, Syed. Yes, please. Yes. Yes, of course. I mean, migration, we are going to have a database migration project, and how you are going to have a end-to-end database migration project, and how do you have to assess the database migration project, what is the assessment phase, what is the migration plan phase, and how do you actually implementation stage, and finally deploy stage. So these are the phases that you are having it in. One of the project I am going to cover that. Okay. More of a technical things. Okay, we will be covering more of a technical, because our main aim is to become a data engineer. In that way, however, all the technical stuff that is required for you to comfortably work in the company, those things are we are going to cover. Yes, the pre-sales and licensing activities, that we never work on that, so we are not focusing on that here. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so yes, Sheikh Rizwan, I guess. Yeah, please. Mhm. No. Sir, this course is only for data engineering. No DevOps is covered here. That is covered. That is covered. That is covered. You'll be having it here. So you'll be having I'm creating an end-to-end CI/CD where you will be using some GitHub and all of these things, Cloud Build and all of these CI/CD tools. But you will be getting an idea. So how an end-to-end project looks like when you come working in a company, what is that kind of idea and feel you are going to get it for sure. Yes. Because I wanted to give you that, because you should be comfortable, right? When you are working in the company. Yes, for sure. We will be giving you some in a project, we will be covering DevOps kind of a idea. So DevOps related CI/CD, we are going to create one. Yes. Yes. Any other questions? Yes, Anupam Tripathi. Anupam, yes. You have any question, Anupam? Good evening, Anupam. Yes, please. Okay. 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 No worries. Anupam, you can connect with an admin. They will add you to this batch. That's not a problem. Okay. This is the batch. This is the batch. Yeah, this is the batch. They will add you. No worries. Yeah. Sure, 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 sure. Yes, no worries if you are able to miss some session. So this Anupam was from the previous batch. Because of some issue, he would not be able to add, he would not be able to join some of the sessions. So if you are missing some sessions, or I would like to join another batch, that's totally fine, guys. You can able to do that. Okay. Having said that, you should be having a proper justification why you are actually doing that. So yeah, you can able to join next batch also. That's totally fine, guys. If you are joining this batch, or due to some issue I couldn't able to attend the sessions, later point of time again you can add, no problem. Yes. So yes, I see one more question. Is it mandatory to learn DevOps for data engineering? No, guys. No, DevOps is different, data engineering is different. Okay, data engineering itself, it is ocean. Okay, you don't have to learn a separate entire field. Okay, data engineering itself, it is a ocean. The moment you dig into the data engineering ocean, you will be having a plenty of the things. Okay, data engineering is totally different from DevOps. You don't have to learn DevOps at all for data engineering roles. Okay, yeah. Okay, yes, Naveen, you have any question? Correct. Recordings will be provided. Yes. For you, I think for at least 1 year will be there. Okay. I hope when you say lifetime, it is 1 year, right? You can always connect with me. You can always connect with me, and I can provide you that. But for sure, as per our this institute norms, we will be providing you 1 year access for the recordings. Okay. Yes. Yes. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I think, yeah, for all of you people, and tomorrow is going to be the final session for the demo sessions. After that, and you have to enroll for the course. All the steps you are going to be, and we will be contact you so that you can able to enroll for the course. So, and after that, from the Monday onwards, regular sessions will start. And tomorrow I will tell you all of those things. Tomorrow is our final session. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes, Ratnaji, you have any question?
Hey, hello, good evening. So
Good evening.
regarding the certification, right? So
Yes.
yesterday we suggested two certifications, right? Cloud engineer
Correct.
and data engineer. So after this course, so should we focus on data engineer or cloud engineer first?
I suggest you to, for those people who are going for certifications, right? So
Mhm.
whoever is going for certifications, I suggest you to go for the professional data engineering certification. Almost all the concepts are covered here. You can able to aram say go for certification dumps and get the exposure of the questions. You can easily crack it. Okay, because almost all the topics for the professional data engineering certification is covered. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
You can
thank
go
you.
for associate cloud engineer also, but that is more of a associate certificate. It doesn't comes under the professional. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So I hope this is also cleared. Anyone have any questions, sir? I have
Yeah,
this many
I
years
have
of
one
it.
question for you.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes,
So,
Santosh.
getting after getting through this class, will we be able to crack the exam, or do we need to prepare separately?
You have to, after this course is completed, for those who are going for certification, I am giving you the dumps. Okay. These dumps give you how the question pattern will be there. You are going to understand the question pattern and what they are focusing on. Okay, their focus, so that you can prepare your mind and you can go for the exam, because the course will give you the entire knowledge on data engineering. Then you can just focus on, because the question pattern and what they're focusing on, if you don't know it, that's where the problem is. So you can just look at the dumps and you try to understand this is how the scenario based questions they are asking, and some of the questions are like this. One more advantage that you get is that from the dumps itself, 10 to 20 questions gets repetitive all the time. People say this one. Okay, I even have I'm even certified in the professional data engineer 2 times. Okay, I have seen that from these dumps only 10 to 20 questions are getting repeated. Okay, so if you are able to complete a few more, some 20 to 25 questions, that's where you are in certification, right? So you can able to crack it easily. So that's how. So the dumps are going to be very helpful. The course is going to be very helpful for you to do that.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so for those certification people also, this is going to be very interesting course for you guys. Almost all the topics, and they are going to focus on the scenario. First thing I wanted to tell you, they are going to focus on the scenario based questions only, and that can only be tackled when you are actually implementing something, when you are actually doing the lab sessions, when you are actually creating a solution for something. So that can only be possible during that, and we are going to have such a kind of a use cases. We are going to create such kind of a code also. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Any other questions, anyone? Yes. So someone is asking about the course details. Let me gonna tell you course details, guys. 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. I hope everyone knows it. For those people who are joined today, it is 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day. Nothing but Monday to Friday. I would like to mention Monday to Friday, daily 1 hour. Okay. Sometimes I don't say 1 hour. For sure it will take 1 hour, 1 hour 15 minutes also, 1 hour 20 minutes also. It will take sometimes. Okay, because of the complexity of the topic. Okay, and the recordings are provided. You will be, once you enroll for the course, you will be getting the Zoom links, and you will be getting the access to our notes also. You already seen the notes also, it is already there. Okay, so this is how all of these things are provided to you guys. In the notes, you will be already having the interview questions, resumes, and all the project related code and data sets. Everything is inside that only, assignments. Okay, so this is what it is. Any general question related to any of these things, guys? Anyone have anything? Okay, so if you do not have anything, let me going to tell you what we are going to see tomorrow is that how to interact with the different services in the Google Cloud platform. That is going to be covered tomorrow, guys. So now we see that, sir, these are plenty of the services in the GCP. Sir, how can we interact with the GCP services? If you ask me, so to interact with it, we are going to see the console, Cloud Shell, Cloud SDK, and one more is APIs and third-party tools. Okay, so we will be connecting it tomorrow at the same time, guys. If anyone have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can wrap up the session for today. Okay, this is the topic for tomorrow. Okay, guys, I see that no questions. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining today. And I hope you have learned something today. And we will see few more things in tomorrow's session, guys. Thank you, guys. Let us see tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.